Wow, brilliant. So the videos that I sent home, did that crash or is it recording? The countdown happened, but it doesn't look like. Is it going? Is it on? Is it on? If you're a Shrek fan, that's funny. Yes, it's on. Okay. So we don't have enough time in class to go through to watch all of those videos. They're actually really interesting. There's one of the ones is new that I hadn't watched until whatever morning I posted these. But every so often I just troll TED for new talks, and I find some old talks that they're archiving in TED that I've never seen before. And so it's a one with this. It looks like someone filmed it with their cell phone camera, and it's a woman from India. It's nauseating, so just listen to it. Yeah. But, I mean, someone's like, but what she has to say is really powerful. Could you listen to it? Yeah, okay, yeah, because it was, yeah. No, okay, so in order for us to understand, we're going to go through some of the basic disorders, and Dana's going to chime in and correct me because this is not as much as my space as your space, and why you're not doing these lectures, I'm really not sure, but that's okay. Okay, then. So she's going to chime in and help me correct things. But let's see. Is this did we talk about this? Is this us? Let me see the date here. That's physio, the 21st, 20th. That one. Is this us or is this? No, that's my 11 o'clock class. Okay, fine. This makes a really exciting recording. There we go. This looks familiar. That's you guys. Okay. So in my physio class, we are talking about cognition right now. So how the brain does cognition. And the fun part about how the brain does cognition is that it runs through a series of okay, so these two words we talked about a long time ago with learning. Your brain works in a series of sensitizations and habituation. Sensitization and habituation. So sensitization means, does anybody know when you are sensitized to something? Accustomed to means habituation. Yeah, sensitization is you feel it's stronger. So for example, if you get a sunburn, your skin is sensitized. You feel whenever something happens on your skin, it becomes more sensitized. I made my son climb up on the roof to do the Christmas lights. I hate climbing on the roof to do the Christmas lights, just because I fall down a lot, and the higher you're off the ground when you fall down, it hurts more. We did find a dead rat on the roof too. That was nasty. Eventually, it had got one of the traps and then got out and made it about 10 feet and then died and just sat on the roof. And no good self-respecting possum climbed up there to eat it, so it just was rotting. Yeah. Anyway, he kicked it down at me. Almost hit me. Okay. Well played, sir. I'd fling it back, but it's leaking, so I'm not going to. Okay. So, when you are sensitized to something, like for example, I talked about this rotting rat, all of a sudden my stomach is starting to feel nauseous. Why? Well, just by thinking of disgusting things, and because I'm hungry, and my wife is not up yet, so I drank the entire pot of coffee. Oh yeah. Okay, there's still a little bit left in here, but yeah, not much. And so my stomach is probably a little bit more sensitive. And by thinking about something disgusting, which causes your stomach to hurt, it hurts more than it typically would because of all the coffee and lack of food and disgusting crap. When you habituate to something, though, what does that mean? So, but thank you. But Give me an example when you habituate to something. I'm going to close this because it's cold. Actually, we could use the cold as an example. It's what, 50 degrees outside right now? Maybe 48? When we were skiing last winter in June, not June, in spring break, whenever that was, April-ish, it was 50 degrees. Same temperature outside. We're skiing with short sleeve shirts on. And we're like sweating. It was hot. But we're freezing to death here. I'm like literally cold. Why? It's not the exercise. Your body habituates to different temperatures. This is why it's so frustrating in California, especially this time of year, because it'll be like 90 later today, and it's like 40 today in the morning. It's really hard to adjust to the temperature because you can't habituate. But if you go somewhere it's the same temperature all the time, like when Dana goes to Hawaii, and it's going to be 80 degrees every day, the first day you're there, it feels really hot. But after 2 days, what happens? You habituate. Your body goes, okay, I get it, and then adjusts its normal body temperature. Your body temperature is really flexible. You can adapt to cold weather very quickly. My daughter's boyfriend in Michigan, he wears shorts and t-shirts all the time. It's 35 degrees out. The wind's blowing. He's wearing a shorts and a t-shirt because he's a moron. No, he's used to it. Unless it gets down into the 20s or low 10s, then he puts on a sweatshirt or a jacket. But otherwise, he's just you get used to it. And that's why, like, my first time we went back to Vermont with my wife, it was great. It was 6 degrees when we got there. 6. My wife had never seen a single-digit temperature in her entire life. And she got there and she's like, I don't know what to do with this. The 2 mornings afterwards, it was 14 below zero. And when we got up early in the morning, so you take a cup of boiling water and you throw it up in the air and it goes, and crackles. You got to get down below -10 for that to actually work. So when it warmed up to close to zero, we tried to go for a run. And it felt, she goes, this is good, I feel fine. Until you start exercising. As soon as you start exercising at that temperature, anybody ever exercise at really cold temperatures? Your lungs get cold. And your lungs get cold, and as soon as your lungs get cold, they constrict, and you can't breathe. You're trying to exercise, and your lungs constrict. That's why you see a lot of people that compete at really cold temperatures have a little breath mask on. Keeps their air warmer. Cool. Anyway, we made it about half a mile before she turned around and quit. Okay. It was pretty good. We made it to the top of Hams Hill, and then we turned around and came back. Okay. But, so when you habituate to something, or sensitize to something, what causes the sensitization and habituation? What is the cause of this? I don't expect you to know the real answer because you're not taking my physio class, but it has to do with serotonin. The neurotransmitter serotonin is how you sensitize and habituate. Serotonin is a molecule that is in your brain, and again, if you take physio, it's protein, methyl kinase 2 protein inhibitor. But so serotonin allows you to sensitize or habituate. So what happens if you don't get enough, let's say, sleep? Yes. So are you grouchier? Yes. Why do you get grouchy when you don't have enough sleep? Are you sensitized or habituated? Sensitized. Your neurons respond faster when you're tired. When you go to sleep, your body restores the balance of serotonin. The balance of serotonin. Most drugs that treat psychiatric disorders affect serotonin. Most drugs. Because what do they help you do? Balance. They help you sensitize. They also help you habituate. There's another neurotransmitter we talk about. Dopamine. Dopamine neurons cause inhibition. Dopamine neurons cause inhibition. So if I send a signal, if I release dopamine, the cells that they're released onto slow down. Dopamine is really important with habituation. So if I put my glasses on my head, does my brain need to know that they're there? I wear my glasses on my head all the time. That's actually why I got rid of I have another pair of sunglasses, but I don't wear them as much because these I stick on my head and I can bounce my head around and they don't fall off. My other ones I turn and they go fling. But the thing is, so they put a little bit of pressure on my temples. How come I don't notice it after a period of time? And sometimes I'll even do this. Because I just put things, how come I don't notice that I already have a pair of glasses on my head after a few minutes? Habituation, you get used to it. So, when you habituate to something, and then when you take it off, that's even weirder. Like if guys with long hair or girls, if you have your hair in a ponytail all day, what happens when you take your hair out of the ponytail? You feel all the little hair follicles moving. In fact, you're not feeling them move, you're just feeling them not in the same space they have been for a long period of time. And that's why the way to fix that is just go, just rub your head really quickly, stimulate all the neurons, and then it habituates to a normal state again. Like wearing a baseball hat all day, you take it off, it feels like it. I wore glasses for most of my adult life. And so for me, having the glasses on was just a normal way of being. And you don't even notice that you have glasses on. When I used to wear contacts, I used to keep poking myself in the forehead, trying to adjust my glasses. Like you just did. And it's just like, if my contacts are out of focus, why would I punch myself in the forehead? You can't feel the glasses not on your face. So with the balance of serotonin and dopamine, this is a very oversimplified version of this. Because serotonin and dopamine are also used for lots of other things in your brain. Dopamine, for example, one of the primary inhibitions of it is anxiety. So if I add dopamine to your system, what happens to your anxiety? Inhibits, it goes down. So let's go through and let's look at anxiety disorders. It's really simple with anxiety disorders. Anxiety disorder is sensitization of anxiety. You just become more sensitized to anxiety. So I'm going to write the word thoughts up here. Could we figure out what your thoughts are? Can we label this as something as a behavior? Why not? So if I put on my brain scanner, can I measure your thoughts? You say that really quickly and correctly. No, you're right. You're 100% right. I don't know what you're thinking, but what can I do? If I put the brain scanner on, all the electrodes are printed. I just need some super glue in about 2 hours. I have the super glue. I just don't have 2 hours. I actually did Sunday, and I actually watched Disney Plus all weekend. Part 3. It was awesome. Sorry. Okay. But if I don't waste another 2 hours and not watch Disney Plus, I can put the electrode cap on your head, and I can have you sit there, and can have you think of something. Your brain lights up. And then I teach you mindfulness activities where you're not thinking of things. And can I tell if you're actually being mindful or not? Yes, because your brain produces a very specific pattern when you're doing mindfulness practices. And when your brain is doing those patterns, you're not thinking. As soon as you shift away from the mindfulness activity, your brain starts making noise, and you are thinking again. This is one of the reasons why this brain thing was invented, was to help people learn to meditate. To study what your brain is, so you can see what your brain is doing, so you can see when you start thinking. Or when, like for me, because of my attention issues, I get distracted very, very quickly. So when I have the brain scanner on, if there's any noise around, what happens? I shift my attention, and you can actually see the shift in attention. You can actually see all of a sudden I've got some good alpha waves going, all of a sudden, stop it, okay, focus, zen, 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 whack, ooh. Okay, so your thoughts are noise. So someone who has anxiety, what do they have? A lot of noise. But now the interesting thing is anxiety, the noise is focused on future fears, future stress, future worries. So what if creep into your head? Okay? What if green hair goes on like that? Okay, so the idea of trying to treat anxiety, before you can figure what the noise is, you have to look back at the person's learning history. I'm going to use the evil word trigger because it was used in a couple of the videos, and I want to make sure, I want to keep the vocabulary consistent. But you have to look at the person's learning history. Do some of you have overactive amygdala? What's the amygdala do? Panic. Do some of you panic easier than others? Yes. That has a lot to do with your neuroticism score. Some people just are twitchy. Whenever something stressful happens, your amygdala activates the medulla and ramps you up. Sorry. If your parents ramp easily, are you likely to ramp easily? Yes, that's your physiology. Okay, that makes you a very good sprinter, but not a good distance runner. I have to think of things in practice stuff. And so, if you are easily panicked, what happens with your thoughts? If you're easily panicked, what happens with your thoughts? So a spider sits down next to you, little Miss Muffet, sitting on your tuffet, eating cottage cheese. That's pigeon way, by the way. What did Little Miss Muffet do when Little Spider sat down beside her? She jumped up and ran away. Little Spider sat down beside her. Little Miss Muffet ran away. I don't know the rest of the story. I just realized I don't know the rest of the spider and sat down beside her. No, that's not it. Because the pentameter's not right. There's away. Little Miss Muffet. No. And Little Miss Muffet sprayed it with Braid until it was dead. No, don't hurt spiders. Anyway, wow, that's really bad. Okay, so the idea of learning, the idea of this noise is anxiety is just noise. If you sit down and you look at the screen and something's not quite lined up or the E is not defined in trigger, some people makes them cause anxiety. Always take it the joke. What is OCD? Obsessive compulsive disorder. We all have obsessive compulsive thoughts. We all have obsessive compulsive thoughts. Which means, obsession means your thoughts drift into the same direction. As opposed to having a lot of noise in your thoughts, you obsess about a particular thing. You sensitize to a particular way of thinking. A lot of people have negative self-talk, where you think, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, why can't I do this? And you get stuck in those obsessive thoughts about self-doubt or self-worth. Or I get obsessed about bicycle things. I have a bicycle that really needs to be built. And I have a Friday. There's nothing much to do and it might be raining. Perfect time for hanging out in the bike shed. Except it leaks, but that's not a point. Hanging out in the bike shed, putting this bike together to find out how much parts I need. I've got about 80 bucks left of my selling bicycles to buy parts. And so is that an obsessive compulsive disorder, or is it just I want to spend time on my hobby? I want to spend time on my hobby. And frighten Miss Muffet away. That was way too much effort to figure the rest of that out. But again, so Miss Muffet is obviously afraid of spiders. Poor Miss Muffet. Okay, but if someone has obsessive compulsive, okay, so obsession is thoughts. What's compulsive? Triggered behavior. So, let me move this go away. So, if obsessional thoughts cause triggered behavior, that is what we call obsessive compulsive. So, here's something interesting. Dopamine helps trigger behavior. Neurotransmitter dopamine helps trigger behavior. There's a whole, it takes video if you're really interested in this stuff, but there's a whole system in your brain called the basal ganglia, and this actually activates behaviors. And it activates behaviors by stopping other behaviors. I think I showed the video of the Tourette's hero. Biscuit. Happy birthday. Biscuit. Did I show that video here? Okay, so let me put up this really quickly. Let's just find let's just watch right here.